I eat a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet because it's great for my health, but despite the many health benefits, a lot of people just can't seem to stick to this diet long term because it's just too complicated. Well, I'm here to share 5 concepts that will help you to get rid of the complication so that you can stick to this way of eating for the rest of your life. Here we go. Hey everybody, this is Dylan. Most people switch to a healthy whole plant food diet like the one we promote here on this YouTube channel because of their health. They know that if they can fix the food, they can get rid of some of the health issues that they've been experiencing, such as being overweight or obese, having high blood pressure, needing statins to control your cholesterol. This is pretty much the only diet where you can just eat the right food, live an active lifestyle, and not need drugs in order to keep everything in line. But it is quite complicated, not because it's actually complicated, but because it seems like everybody promoting this way of eating is way overcomplicating it and making it really intimidating for people. A lot of people come to this healthy way of eating thinking they're gonna have to change everything about what they do and understand, that they're gonna have to learn a million new cooking techniques to turn vegetables into like mock meat alternatives, that they're gonna have to eat the same 10 or 12 things every day or they'll shrivel up and die, that all of it's so expensive and they've got to get all these fancy. No, it's really simple. Let's go back to the basics and talk about 5 ideas that you can start thinking about now that will make this way easier to adhere to. Concept number 1 that I want to talk about is not feeling like you've got to make a fancy cookbook style recipe for every single meal. Every single dinner that you make for your family is going to have to be some fancy thing out of a cookbook with 6 steps, saute this, bake this, do all these things. No, save the fancy dinners for fun. You know, another misconception is that if you switch to this way of eating, you better love cooking. You're gonna have to be a chef now and you're gonna be in there cooking and your passion is food. No, most of the people that watch my channel could not care less about being fancy at cooking food. They're not here to become chefs. They're not here to make the next Instagram worthy photo. They just wanna eat the healthy food, and that's what it's really all about. Save all of the fancy meals for the weekend when you might actually have some fun doing some cooking. Some of you watching absolutely never want to have fun cooking. It's just not fun for you and it's not going to be. Okay, others like me do enjoy cooking, but I wouldn't say I necessarily have a passion for cooking in the kitchen. My passion is for helping people to do things more easily, and that might mean that on the weekends I like to make fancier meals, but during the week I just want to get the food in my belly and that's it. So focus on just eating really simple 10-20 minute meals as your actual staple meals during the week. The next pitfall I think people get stuck on is feeling like everything's got to be absolutely perfect at every meal. You think that there's 2 camps. One is the standard American diet that got you into trouble, and the other is this magical vegan whole food plant-based diet where everything is Instagram worthy, everything is bought at a farmer's market, nothing is conventionally grown. Lord no, it's got to be organic every single bite, and it's got to be chopped just perfect. You got to know how to use this. You got to get all these fancy cooking gadgets in the kitchen to make. No, this is just totally overcomplicating things. Stop feeling like everything's got to be absolutely perfect. It's okay to open up a freezer bag of veggies or corn and throw it in the steamer basket, or a frozen bag of brown rice and cook that and put some sauce on it and just make a really simple meal that's got lots of healthy whole food calories. You don't have to eat Dr. Furman's G-bombs every single day. You don't have to follow Dr. Greger's daily dozen every day. There's just no way. You want to get a variety of healthy whole food ingredients in your diet and change it up from time to time, but you can do that simply by changing your simple meal rotation. But feeling like you've got to do it absolutely perfect or else you can't participate throws people totally off and they just want to give up. You're essentially putting yourself into a trap, this perfection trap where you think, if I can't do it perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. What a lot of people don't realize is they can just follow a very mediocre diet in terms of the ingredients and the variety or the techniques that they apply to cooking the food and achieve all of the health benefits that you would have if you took it to the level 10 ninja whole food plant-based diet eater, which you just don't need to be. Same health benefits, way less work, way less complication. Stop feeling like you've got to present yourself to others as some sort of chef or perfect example. Just lay back and chill and just realize you can just cruise by eating really simple food. It doesn't have to all be 10 out of 10 every time. Along those similar lines, a very important concept that I want to talk about explicitly is remembering that food is fuel. It is not a source of pleasure. Our culture seems to have turned fuel and pleasure into the same thing, where you've got to have a mouthgasm in every bite, and it's got to tickle all of your taste buds and be exciting and delicious every time you sit down to eat. Food does not have to be this way. Food is not meant to be pleasure. It's going to be impossible to stick to if you think that every bite of food should tickle your senses. It shouldn't. It should be good enough for you to get full and feel well, good enough for you to eat the full meal so that you're not like eating too few calories. That would be no good. You want it to be good enough to get on with your day and live your life, and then you'll make some food again later and it'll be just good enough too. The fourth concept I want to talk to you about that I think is going to help you to stick to this diet for the long term is to cut corners every which place you can. If you've got a recipe that you're following because you're new to that particular dish and there are a whole bunch of different steps to the sauteing and all this, start to try and cut down those steps. If you follow my recipes, you'll find that they are very simple. I have taken out the frivolous steps. If I'm sauteing, I try to do it all in one step. I like one pot meals where you throw everything on, turn it up to a boil, and that's it. These are the meals that are going to get you in and out of the kitchen as quickly as possible to remove the complication from your healthy whole food diet. Half the time you do these extra steps in your meals and your recipes, and they're going to make the food taste like 5% better. So here you're going to do 20% of extra work for 5% better flavor. Wouldn't you have been good enough with the 95% flavor? It's perfectly tasty. Do you need like to brown the onions just right before you add the garlic for 1 extra minute? I just question the need for any of these cooking techniques if your goal is just to get in and out of the kitchen, eat the healthy food, and move on. If you watch a lot of my recipe videos, you know that I use a wide variety of ingredients. I love to chop. I'm a baller with a knife, and I love to chop fresh produce on the cutting board. I always say the only tools you really need in the kitchen are a cutting board, a knife, a pot, and maybe a spoon to stir things around in the pot, and that's it. But guess what I also love is saving time by using other types of ingredients, frozen ingredients. We've got a ton of 10-minute meals where we'll use only frozen, no prep kinds of meals. You didn't have to think about this recipe before you went to make it. You didn't have to acquire a bunch of special ingredients for it because they're already in your regular weekly rotation. Canned tomatoes. I love canned. No salt added is pretty important to me because there's so much salt in canned stuff. But I love the canned ingredients. Mostly tomatoes, like tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, tomato paste. Then I love canned corn is really nice. Frozen corn is great too. Canned beans. Canned beans save a ton of time because beans take forever to cook if you didn't think about it in advance. I love frozen chopped onions and bell peppers, frozen corn, frozen peas, anything that's frozen like in the mixes. You can get like a mix of the Southwest blend is one we really love that's got beans, corn, bell peppers, onions. There's the mirepoix mix that's got the frozen carrots, celery, onion. Frozen potatoes save so much time. We love to make potato chowder soup, whatever you want to call it, with the frozen hash brown potatoes that are already diced up and ready to go. And I get a lot of pushback from people that land on my channel not really realizing what Well Your World is all about. What is our value proposition? It's helping you to save time and get healthy. It's not just to show you that if you're going to be a whole food plant-based eater, you have to dress everything to the nines. It's got to be all fresh, beautiful, organic produce that you picked one by one at the farmer's market and pet all the dogs and have all the fun on the set. No, none of that stuff matters. Who is sick of all the purists that are like, oh, you've got to use fresh chopped this, and oh, the cheater garlic in the jar? Oh no, that's way less flavor and it's going to make the food way worse.
Oh, what, a frozen bag of onions? No, I'll chop my fresh onion from scratch, thank you very much.
Are you not sick of these people as I am? I get a lot of hate from people who don't want to use frozen ingredients because of the plastic waste. Well, I would question that. First of all, if you're buying fresh produce, a lot of that comes in plastic bags and stuff too. It's not perfect. But also, I'm not here to change the world. I want to vote with my dollars as best as I can, obviously. I don't want the oceans to be polluted with plastic. All I can do is make the best best decisions I can. If you've got 2 bags of frozen food and one's in like a paper bag that you know is better for the planet than the plastic one, then by all means, choose the paper one. But many of us do not have the choice, and we're here to save ourselves first. And if these corporations need to do better with their packaging so that it's better for the planet, in my opinion, that's on them. A lot of people avoid the canned foods because it's got the BPA liner. Well, most cans don't have the BPA, and it's perfectly safe to eat this. Oh, and the people that are like, oh, don't put your food in the microwave, you're gonna kill all the nutrition, you're just gonna make that food all mushy and soggy, show some respect to the food. No, I don't need to show the food any respect. I need to get the food off the table and into my belly so that I can get on with my day. Free yourself of this heavy weight that is burdening you from all these purists. No purists. Those are my 5 big concepts for simplifying your diet, but I've got another one, a bonus. I'm always asked about organic versus non-organic food, so I want to use this video to talk about that a little bit as well. It's easy to think that if you're switching from a standard American diet to a healthy diet, that you have to do everything literally perfectly all the time. And one of those things is that every bite of food has to be organic. I'm sorry, but I am not in this camp. It's great that you go after organic if you can find like the dirtiest offenders, such as the Dirty Dozen list, and you can find organic for those items if you have the means financially, and if you have the access to those. But many people either don't have the money to spend on organic, or they don't have the means to even buy it if they did have the money, because their grocery stores may not carry it. It's important to remember that the vast majority of our population that now requires medications in order to keep their blood pressure or their cholesterol in line, that have become overweight or obese, they didn't get this way because they were eating a healthy whole plant food diet, but oops, it wasn't organic. That was not the thing. The reason people are sick is because they're eating a standard American diet rich with animal protein and processed garbage like oils. It's not because it wasn't organic. Don't get too caught up on whether everything is perfectly organic versus the non-organic, and all these labels that we put on food and certifications for this and that. Figure out what you actually need to be healthy and do the bare minimum that you can get away with. And if that for you is organic, great. Go for it, whatever. I've covered with you 6 really helpful concepts that I think will assist in getting the complication out of your healthy whole plant food diet. Simplify your diet. That's the #1 key to success so that you can do this day in, day out, and feel your best. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.